Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge. We're here for the fourth round of the championship, races 7 and 8, taking place at the virtual Nurburgring here today. My name is Chaz Draycott, the English commentator for the real world Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and of course, the Digital Racing Challenge as well. We hope you're all doing fantastic, had a great weekend so far, and we are looking forward to sharing the action with you tonight to complete said weekend. What we're going to do is just have a quick look at what happened last time out there at the previous rounds at Zolder, where there was plenty of excitement with those tight chicanes and plenty of penalties to be handed out to drivers. It was all good fun, though. Let's take a look back at some highlights. racing at Zolder. Lots of fun, lots of action. It certainly kept me on my toes as well. This is how the championship looks at the moment. Norbert Kish leading the way with just 3 points between himself and Jorge Vila. Robin Kreuthoff, after a great round at Zolder, standing up now into third place. Enrique Marcos sits in fourth, and then behind him we have Csaba Hegedus in fifth position. Lucas Hahn is in sixth, 2 points behind Hegedus. Ahead of him is Cornel Berquez, Gergo Balai, Aiko Marinaz in ninth place, and Josi Vila completing the top 10. Aiko Marinaz is separated by just 2 points. Sasha Lenz is currently in 11th position. We then have Christian Gillian next up in 12th, and Nathan Smith, the British driver. Valentin Hector is in 13th. We then have Angel Ripero next up. I believe the number 112, that's Benjamin Rico Rodriguez, is next up, truck number 77. We then have Bayern Martinez behind him. Then you have Jari Stark, Bjorn Tijhus, and Vincent Lahosse, the French driver who made his debut at the Slovakia race when he rounded out the top 20. Looking at the team's championship, it's comfortable at the moment for Revich Sim Racing. They have 447 points to the 360 of Urban Sim Racing. The ETRC Dutch Truck Racing are next up, 352, so only 8 points away. And then Magnus Albertetti looking quite comfortable in fourth. They're followed by the likes of SG Stern, Force of Asgard, Rising Sun Motorsport, HBN Alliance 13, and No Turbo in the party in ninth place with their 41 so far. This is the circuit we come to this evening then, the most famous venue on the calendar of real world, and here in the Digital Racing Challenge going to the Nurburgring. It's going to be a mighty fine race here, and there's going to be 2 of them as well. The first race is taking part daytime and second place at night time. It's going to be a real party later on in the evening, but it's going to be a big challenge. The track temperature again here today is not very high at the moment, so the tyres will not wear as quickly as some other circuits that we've seen before, so the drivers may be able to push that extra bit. We're going to have 2 10-lap races today. That includes the warm-up lap, as you'll see on the timing tower at the top when that comes up, but it is going to be tough. The first section at the Mercedes Arena, mighty tricky, going down a very large dip and then over a crest and then again over a crest on the exit. But interestingly, unlike the real world Truck Grand Prix, we're actually going to be using the full circuit down there. We're going to go all the way down to the Mullenbach Schleife at the bottom, which of course is filled with thousands and thousands of fans and show trucks and even a rock concert. But we're going to be using the full circuit and the faster of the 2 chicanes. The chicane near the end of the lap has 2 layouts to it. There's a very tight and twisty and very slow chicane that we use in the real world. But for this, we're going to be using the quicker, what used to be used for the Black Palm Endurance Series, actually, a long time ago. That was what the original layout was called, the BES layout. But nowadays, sort of sprint chicane that we're going to be using. It's Norbert Kish that's fastest at the moment, which is different. He leads the way with a best lap of 2:29.992 at the moment. The only driver to go under 2.5 minutes on this longer configuration of the circuit. Jorge Vila is in second place ahead of Enrique Marcos. Lucas Hahn currently finds himself in fourth. Then it's Cornel Berquez in fifth, although Robin Kreuthoff just pops up into third place. He improves on his times and does a 2:30.784. Cornel Berquez now down to sixth. Sasha Lenz up there in seventh position. Obviously a driver with a lot of experience on these circuits in the real world, but getting used to their sim-related counterparts. Vincent Lahoste is currently inside the top 10 as well, actually, the French driver. Here is Jorge Vila, truck number 12. It's literally Norby and Jorge that are first and second in this qualifying session and in the championship as well, so the battle is very relative to their positions at the moment. 3 points between them now, and let's not forget that Norby had that very mixed set of results at Zolder. He had a technical issue and wasn't able to join the grid at the front for the first race, so what he had to do was then join on the back of the grid for the start and then try and pick his way through the pack. He did a great job of doing it, but didn't quite get all the way to the front. But what it meant is that with the reverse grid, he was put right near the front again and then managed to go on and take a race victory. He's got 3 wins this season as Norbert Kish. Jorge Vila's got 1 win, so too has Enrique Marcos. Lucas Hahn has a race victory as well. no other driver other than Norbert Kish so far this season that has more than one race victory. Robin Kreutoff is definitely somebody that is in with a shout of getting a race win. We've seen some epic defending from Robin before now. It's been lovely to see this Scania T-Cab, the virtual representation of it, flying around our tracks. It actually featured on a very important poster recently that was put on all the social media platforms by the wonderful people behind the Truck Grand Prix, because the Dutch Truck Racing Championship will be a part of the Mittelrhein Cup, the Truck Grand Prix this year in 2024. Really looking forward to that and getting more variation in the trucks on the grid and a bunch of new drivers to the event as well. It's going to be mighty exciting. And again, the Truck Grand Prix going from strength to strength each season as part of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And here is one of the drivers from the Real Series as well, Sascha Lenz, truck number 3. He's going to be feeling confident after the end of the season that they had. They had their typical bad luck, actually. Sascha's one of the unluckiest drivers I know, actually, in a lot of circumstances, bless him, but he's a fantastic character, always quick, and he's always determined to improve and keep going forward as well. He's not one of these drivers that will ever just settle. He's really trying to improve all the time and really pushing himself, and it's great to have that. He's very hungry for the results, basically. But Sascha will go into this season confident, because the end of the season they had was very strong at Jarama. And he obviously held on to that 3rd place position in the championship after battling so long with Antonio Albacete throughout the season. Lucas Hahn will be looking forward to the races that he takes part in this season as well. I'm not sure he's doing a full campaign again this time around. I think what he's going to be doing is the race-by-race entries that we'd seen him do before, but it's always a pleasure to have Lucas on the track with us. He's always got a smile on his face when he's in the paddock, regardless of how a weekend is going. Another great character amongst the field. As you can see at the top of your screen though, we have 2¼ minutes left to go here in qualifying, and it is still Norbert Kish that leads the way. Here's Valentin Knechtel, currently just outside of the top 10 in 12th position. Not improved in the first sector of this lap, but I tell you what, I love the look of this Mercedes and the SG Stern factory colours as well. Awesome, really awesome looking bit of kit in the number 92 machine. He's got German Tobias Martinez just behind him, and then this man, Bjorn Teichhuis, truck number 51, the lovely looking DAF CF, or is it an XF? It's a CF, isn't it? The DAF, it says it on the front even, so Chaz should probably just pay attention to that, shouldn't he? But still, great looking machine, 51 truck. And to be fair to Bjorn, I mean, compared to some of his pace in the previous season of this, he's been getting faster and faster all the time. His results have always been getting better, even with the fact that he was sideways across the road in front of the field at the Slovakia ring. At the very start of the race, he was completely sideways, and he managed to recuperate from there and still get some good points on the board. So, you know that Bjorn is not going to be messing about this season. He's certainly right up there. Just trying to see where he is in the championship at the moment. He's 19th. He's still inside the top 20. He actually lost a few places in the championship after Zolder, unfortunately. But there were a few drivers that had a really good meeting and hopped up. I mean, Aitor Marinas was in 15th place in the championship and then moved up to 9th last time out. Josi Vila went from 17th to 10th as well. In terms of those that have moved from further down the order, though, there wasn't any other huge jump-ups, just a couple of drivers that gained 1 or 2 positions. Here's Jonathan Andre, another driver that we've had racing in the real world campaign of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Truck 44, the Lion racing machine. Always a great looking truck. They prepare them so beautifully to do the French team. And Jonathan Andre's confidence has continually got more and more improved, let's say. We hope to have him with us on the track again this season. Here's Csaba Hergedis. He is currently inside the top 10. No improvements on his previous lap though, and he's decided that that is the end of that one as well. So the timer has now hit 0, so the drivers that will be crossing the line will be completing the session. 28 machine of Vincent Lahoste. Yellow and blue truck driven by the Frenchman. You can see just how much of the road they're trying to use here. One of the key parts of this evening's racing is that the Nurburgring is a lot wider than Zolder. Zolder, to be fair, has a lot of walls very close to the track, whereas the Nurburgring doesn't always have them that close here. There's a few barriers that get close to the edge of the curb just to stop people cutting them, and one of the important parts of the circuit is going to be the walls at the chicane here. If you just watch Vincent Lahotte go through, you'll see the barriers actually that really stop drivers from cutting that chicane. There's obviously the sausage curbs and the small bollards as well to think about. But if anybody hits those barriers, they are going to be in for a mighty tough time, because they're going to come to a sudden stop, and hopefully there is no contact behind that, because yeah, as the director Gero, who it's great to be back with in the commentary box, has just pointed out, those barriers do not move, so they may as well be welded into the floor with humongous steel beams. They will not be moving under the weight of our trucks here. Here's Tobias Martinez in the Scania, number 33. Love this livery as well, actually. Great looking race truck, very shiny, and he's going to be hoping to break into that top 10. And let's not forget, everybody, after the first race, the top 8 on the grid are reversed for race 2. It might be important to break into that top 10. There's Bastian Donker, he's just coming into the pits, so too is Henry Tyhus in truck number 15. I likened that truck to Erwin Klein-Nagelwort's truck actually last time out, but it basically is the same truck. So it's clear that the likeliness of it is definitely showing true. Here's Robin Kreutoff bouncing the Scania over the curb. I don't know what it is about that thing, but it just looks so much heavier than every other truck that it goes near on the circuit. It's brilliant. Really cool racing machine. There was an improvement a little bit further down. Who was that just put their best time in? Nathan Smith moves up into 17th place. Vincent Lahoste has actually gone 10th fastest as well on his previous attempt. We've not got many drivers out there on the track now. The little white boxes next to their names with a P in them tell you the drivers that are currently sat in the pits, or have at least come into the pit lane. So it's Lahoste, Tobias Martinez, Nathan Smith, Jonathan Andre and Aitor Marinas, and this man, Benjamin Rico Rodriguez, that are the only trucks on the circuit at the moment, just aiming to complete their laps. However, it's been nearly 3 minutes since the session hit 0, so I doubt that any of those guys, will be completing a fast lap. As you can see as well, the pit boxes alternate, and we now wait for everybody to jump to the grid. The race session will tick over, and it will change from qualifying here in Assetto Corsa to race. And at any moment now, all the trucks will be teleported on to the grid, ready to go for the 7th race of the season. Just checking, so waiting to check when that happens, I should say. Everybody in the chat saying good luck to one another and hope that they have a good race. The sportsmanship is awesome between the drivers in this championship as well. There's a lot of them, and that's one of the main differences, really, in the Real World Series. We tend to get up to about 20 drivers at maximum in the last couple of seasons, but here, obviously, we have way over 30 drivers at most rounds. For this one, we have 32 here tonight. So I'm excited to see how they all sort themselves out, and it's going to be a long old field, actually. They've all just taken to the grid and will be moving shortly. But the field is that large that it actually goes halfway around most of the way around the final corner and then in towards the chicane just before that. As things stand, though, it's Norbert Kish and Jorge Vila on the front row, first and second in the championship, and there you see them. Norbert on the left, Jorge on the right. Enrique Marcos does well in qualifying yet again, finds himself in 3rd position. He's going to be hoping to put more pressure on these guys and maybe make up some more points. He's 4th in the championship, but he's a good 17 points behind Robin Kreutoff, and to be fair, Robin will be happy with his grid position of 4th place because he's right behind them as well. He's in 4th on the grid. We wait now for the timer. There is a countdown timer for the drivers to make it to the grid. We saw last time out as well that Norbert Kish, with his technical issues, wasn't able to get back onto the grid before the field moved away for the start of the race. So when you see the lights come on in a couple of minutes' time, that's not going to be the race technically starting, because they have a rolling start. The drivers all know how to choreograph that, and they will then move around the track and get on with the race once they next cross the start-finish line with that rolling start. Just to reiterate as well, this is going to be the 7th race of the season. We have 16 rounds throughout this campaign. The second of the races tonight will be a night race, which will be mighty exciting. And then that'll be the first half of the season completed. We then go to Autodrom Most on the 10th of March, Poznan on the 24th. We then go to Harama on the 7th of April, and we end the season at Misano on the 21st of April, where the real World Series will then be getting underway about a month later. Here is the calendar right now. As you can see, some epic venues here. We had a great start to the season at the Hungaroring. Slovakia Ring was nice and drama-filled as well, and Zolder really kept me on the edge of my seat. There was a lot going on there. So it's great to be here at the Nurburgring for this end of the first half of the season. I know that the drivers really enjoy this place. They'll be really looking forward to getting going and getting racing here. There's been a lot of buzz around this round of the championship, much like there is in the real world. Hello to all of you that are watching along on YouTube, on the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championships YouTube channel. It's lovely to have you with us. Hope you're all having a great weekend, like I say. You can see the cloud in the background there. Not really that menacing at this point. The Nurburgring is known for having its completely own climate. It's just got its own weather system away from so much of the rest of the country, to be fair. But I believe it's going to remain dry for the entire evening's worth of racing. It's just been confirmed by Giro as well. He's not going to randomly throw some rain at us for later in the evening. We should be getting going in about 20 seconds time. It just gives all the drivers a chance to check their setups and check all of the sort of inner workings of the truck as well, just to prepare for the race. And then we'll all get rolling. You can see the lights coming on at the top of the screen. Now they will start to count down as if this is the start of the race, but like I've said, we have a choreographed warm-up lap, or a green flag lap, so to speak, where the drivers will make their way around. As soon as those lights go out, Norby will get us moving, with Jorge Vila on the front row. And one thing we haven't ever seen, actually, in the championship is somebody that didn't quite get the memo and suddenly set off at full racing speed when that happened. So, thankfully, touch wood, we've not had that before. And any new drivers that join us for the campaign will not do the same. But look at the size of the grid we have here. It's excellent. Really, really excellent. There was John Newell in 21st place. He's got Gyula Zentai with him on the grid. Truck number 17, not too far behind them as well. And there's truck number 89, Andreas Wagner, towards the rear end of the field. The number 17 machine, which sits a little bit further down the order, is Norbert Juhasz, and he's got the awesome old school MAN with the big headlights on it. They've even got the sort of crisscross tape on the front of it as well. You often see that sort of styling in classic racing, or in sort of historic racing, so to speak, just to save the glass of the headlights from smashing. It sort of holds them together a little bit more, apparently. I've never seen it really work that well, because if a car hits another one hard enough to smash the glass, it's not going to completely stay together, but still, each to their own. Put some tape on the headlights and see if it works. So they make their way round for the first time, and this is of course the green flag lap. So the drivers, when they get towards the end of the lap, will then form up 2 by 2 once again. Here's Jose Maria Rosa. Unfortunately for him, to point out that after Zolder and a few penalties that were given out to drivers, there's a few of them that are under sort of closer observation now from the stewards and the officials. There was nothing too untoward, but I mean, one of the main things to take away from Zolder was the fact that even though it was such a narrow track with big heavy braking zones and tiny chicanes, the driving standards were, to be fair, phenomenal. Everybody did really well. It was just a few moments where, you know, outside of track limits and so on, drivers just had to get the warnings because that was how the rules went. If you go outside of the track limits too much, and you do get warnings, you do get penalties, and the stewards did a great job and adhered to that. And the drivers have been very respectful in taking those penalties as well. There's been discussions with the stewards and all sorts, and they've all been really fair and respectful. Like I said, there's a great community behind this championship, and everybody enjoys themselves so far. It's been a lovely start to the season, and this will only be the halfway point as well. Oscar Chabados, truck number 69. I love the livery on that thing, the purple, white and green. Very striking livery, not always, other than Sasha Lenz of course, you don't often see purple trucks anywhere else. Not quite the neon green that we've seen on Sasha's Apollo Tyres machine. There's a bit of a check-up a bit further back there, unfortunately. A little bit of contact at the back as they all suddenly get on the brakes. But at the front of the field, it's Norbert Kish and Jorge Villa side by side through the chicane at full racing speed. We would definitely not advise that. But as this is the warm-up lap and the green flag lap, that's absolutely fine. Sasha Lenz having a bit of a weave then from the 4th row of the grid. He's starting 7th on this one alongside Csaba Hagedis. But as we come around the final corner, round 7 of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge from the Nurburgring is underway. And Norbert Kish steps off the brakes and slams his foot down on the throttle. He was building up the boost ready to go, and look, it's another one of his demon starts where he's already in front of Jorge Villa. Jorge's going to try and hold the inside line and stick with him. There's a look down the inside there from the 13 machine as well. Vitor Marinas, a little bit of contact in the middle, as you'd expect. We're trying to fit 32 trucks around a hairpin, for crying out loud. But they're all doing a really good job so far. Oh, I say that though, there's a truck around. That's the number 16 machine of Gillian Christian that was facing backwards. I think the other one as well that went off was the French driver Vincent Lahoste. I think he just got squeezed a little bit wide. Here's Lucas Hahn side by side with number 64. Which is Cornel Burquez. Burquez now around the outside on the exit of that section. Enrique Marcos and Robin Kruithoff side by side in front. And look at Sasha Lenz, he takes the advantage down the inside now. He's going to put himself back on the outside of Cornel Burquez. He's going to try and maybe squeeze him out, but he's given the room. Lucas Hahn looking back down the inside of Enrique Marcos, tries to avoid contact. Sasha Lenz round the outside and then down the inside, tries to hold the tighter line. Does he get rid of the overlap? Yes, he does. Lovely stuff from Sasha Lenz, very opportunistic. The 64 now has his teammate as well of Csaba Hagedis just behind him, 64 and 34. Then there's a slight gap back, actually, to Gergo Balai. I think there might have been a little bit of contact behind as Sasha Lenz ends up sideways in the hairpin, lights up that rear axle. Normally that's where the rock concert would be on the Saturday night, down the inside of there. So it's interesting to see the truck really flanging its way through there. Up through the Michael Schumacher S as they go. Sasha is really hanging the back end out on that MAN. He's pushing it very hard indeed. Here's Nathan Smith in the middle of the field in the MAN. Truck number 11 trying to get a run on Bjorn Tyhus. A little bit of a bump in the rear actually there as well. I think Vitor Marinas is behind them with Jonathan Andre. Marinas looks down the inside. Andre turns in, says, nope, I'm not coming through here, sunshine. Don't want any of that. Love the livery on Nathan Smith's truck as well. It looks absolutely awesome. Great sight though as the field make their way out of the right-hander back down towards the chicane at the end of the lap. Marinas and Andre were getting very friendly with each other there. Marinas ends up just off the road on the left-hand side. He's got the number 70 of Gyula Zentai just behind, and then Robin Kruithoff's teammate Bastian Donker in truck 42 weaving this way and that way, trying to find a way by. Doing this time round through the chicane, they weave. A lovely sight once again. Well, I'll tell you what, Marinas is trying everything he can to get past Jonathan Andre, even pushing him out of the way slightly there. I think there might have been an issue with Sasha Lenz here. He seems to have dropped a bunch of positions. I'm not sure if he got a bit of a biff from Cornel Burquez, but Sasha might have been shoved aside there, and the two urban machines have gone through. Jari Stark is looking down the inside of truck 86, which is Gergo Balai. Sasha make it through there without contact. They lean on each other a little bit, but they get away with it, I'd say. Through the Mercedes arena they go. Look how close they are together. Nearly contact. Jari Stark won't take that lying down. We saw just how feisty Jari Stark can get at the Slovakia ring. Oh, he's gone sideways. He's been clipped slightly. Nearly saves it. That's Tobias Martinez that just got into the side of him. Just about gets away with it, but look at the gap that's opened up between them now. Nechtel's in there as well, getting overtaken by Bjorn Tyhus. Nathan Smith tries to go through. It's all kicking off, but it's Norbert Kish leading the way from this man, Jorge Villa. Jorge and Norby have actually gotten away very quickly. Robin Kruithoff is 2.5 seconds back, so an immense start by the two MAN drivers. The two drivers that are trying to fight for the championship lead at the moment. Ignore the dial in the middle though, everybody. There is definitely boost going to the engine of that truck. It's great to be on board with this machine as well, and gives you a really good perspective of how high up the drivers are in the cabs of these trucks. I'm fortunate enough to have been a passenger of Antonio Albacetti's here around the Nurburgring actually last year, and you always think, you know, they must be high up, of course, because they're a lot higher than any other sort of racing machine that you'll ever see. But once you get in one, you realise it feels a lot higher than it actually looks from the outside. It's very, very strange. But also as a driver, it's a lot more comfortable because you're not so affected by what's going on underneath you. You know, if you compare it to like a Formula car, for example, you'll feel every tiny little stone on the ground that you run over in a Formula car. But in trucks like this, you're so high and away from all of the moving parts that it's a lot tidier and a lot comfortable. As Nathan Smith and Valentin Knechtel both off the road there. Some sort of drama and contact in front of them. Not quite sure if Aitor Marinas was involved because he's managed to get away from it. Jonathan Andre and Gula Zentai as well. Jose Maria Rosa trying to get a place. We're looking here at truck number 77, Benjamin Rico Rodriguez. Just gained a couple of freebies from all of the drama in front of him. Nurburgring doing 2 purple sectors on that lap as Jose Maria Rosa headbutts Zentai out of the way. Zentai tries to get in on that as well. Turns in slightly, and I think actually Rico Rodriguez has just lost a couple of places too, so a big amount of bustling and fighting here as Knechtel and Donker, well, they're donking off each other at the moment as they go down the straight. A little bit naughty as they bounce together, but they get away with it. Donker wants to hold Knechtel to that inside line. Knechtel's saying, come on son, give me a bit more room. Zentai gets caught up in that. The innocent bystander in all of that as now Knechtel lights up the rears. Zentai loses out to both of them. And well, it was a little bit naughty by the pair of them there, a bit of leaning on each other as they go down the start-finish straight. Look at Knechtel really wringing the neck of that truck. There's Rico Rodriguez side by side with Nathan Smith. Truck 17 just in front of them as well. Norbert Juhasz having a bit of a wobble. Quite sure how old that MAN is underneath, but it certainly looks a bit more lively than the trucks that's chasing it. Well, Rico Rodriguez nearly pays to get in the AMG arena then, and they have to pay to get back in as well. Oh, big move behind as well. David West gets an absolute shoulder barge from the 69 of Victor Chabados, the only Volvo in the field. As well, more and more contact. There's 2 of them around. Chabados is around, and sideways goes the 17 machine of Norbert Juhasz. There's a check up into the, oh dearie me, check up into the right-hander. The 07 machine gets caught up in that. That's Julian, I just saw his name fly down the order, Julian Wrestle. And well, there was a lot of wrestling going on down there, wasn't there? As they all elbowed each other out of the way. It's certainly close racing, but these trucks can really bounce off one another if you give it enough of a hit. And unfortunately for some of the guys down there, it got very messy. David West now flying down the order too. Oh, West is actually off at the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. So not even at that right-hander. West has had the drama somewhere. Maybe more resulting contact as they headed down towards that hairpin at the bottom at the Dunlop Kera. But here is your battle for the lead. Jorge Vila not leaving Norby alone here. He's doing a great job of this. We've often seen, as I'm sure you all have, Norby just drive off into the distance. But Jorge is not messing about now. He's been really quick this season. It's lovely to see him taking the fight to Norby. I know what Norby's like as well. He'll be loving the fact that they've got this fight on their hands. Makes for some great battling. I'm sure that, much like a lot of us sim racers, even if you finished in 27th position, as long as you've had a good race and a good battle to get there, it just makes it so much fun. And you can come away with a position like 27th and still have a big smile on your face. We look back now from Norby though as we go through the Mercedes Arena on lap number 5. Okay, just looking really tidy and smooth everywhere. Robin Kreutoff's still in the background there. He's actually got ahead of Enrique Marcos, let's not forget. Because he started 4th on the grid, did Robin. And Enrique is just behind him in the championship as well. He wants to hold him off and make sure that he scores more points, even just by 1 or 2 in these initial races. He wants to make sure he's not on the back foot when it comes to later in the season. Kreutoff's just been an absolute master at driving this Scania. It looks like he's able to hold off Enrique pretty well at the moment. Here is Bastian Donker chasing down Jonathan Andre. You can see the way that these 2 very different trucks behave on the way into the corner, and then on the way out, look, there's Donker in the back end out. Jonathan Andre's truck front end of it just seems to turn in so beautifully. Got a lot of early rotation into the corner. Look, you can see it almost hanging the back end out, but then on the exit is where Donker gets on the throttle, and then the Scania hangs its tail out through there as he goes up the gears. You can see the back end trying to sort of wiggle around behind him, get that traction down as they head up the hill towards the Schumacher S's, ride the curve on the right hand side, and then just stay clear of the curbs as they make their way through the corner. Here's John Newell, the NWT machine, one of our drivers from the Real World campaign. I believe that's Andreas Wagner that he's just behind at the moment. And then Henry Tyhus in truck number 15. Bjorn Tyhus up into 12th place at the moment. Actually, I think he started the race in 12th place, I do apologise, but he's held on to his position for now. John is pushing on here to try and stay with these guys just ahead. Andreas Wagner actually started right at the back of the grid, so he's gained a bunch of positions here up into 24th place, and he wants to take even more positions from the rest of the field as he's eyeing up a move on Henry Tyhus. That's one of the Rising Suns trucks as well that Andreas Wagner is in. Here's Gyula Zentai. Gyula's just lost a place to Nathan Smith as well. Nathan is recovering after his earlier incident that we saw with Valentin Nechtel. Not quite sure who else was involved in that incident in the end. But Valentin was the other truck that was off the road. I think Nathan was much further off the road and into the barrier, unfortunately. Freightliner, great looking racing machine we saw there with Jari Stark as well. Sasha Lenz sideways through the first part of the lap. He'll be feeling a little bit gutted actually, because I feel that earlier on it wasn't really his mistake with the urban racing machines, but we'd have to try and have a look back. He's got now between him and them anyway, he's Gergo Balai. Gergo, one of the race drivers in this series, teamed up with Norbert Kish, the race leader. And for the urban sim racing guys, at least they've got their two trucks together on track now, so if they need to work together, then they can. I'm not quite sure which of them it is, by the way, urban sim racing, but I have to give a shout out to them, because some of the they do the screenshots I've seen for Norbert Kish on his social media, and they just look absolutely mega. They really do an amazing job of it. Like I say though, I'm not sure which of them it is, so hats off to whichever one. Iveco S-Ways, orange and white design, very similar to the design you see on Lucas Hahn's truck, and of course his father Jochen Hahn as well, and even the likes of Andre Kurzim and Steffi Halm in the real world. They have this very similar design up the side of the truck, just they have their own colours up the sides. Lucas running the white and red livery for this season, not the white and blue that we're so used to seeing him run. And he's staying in touch with Enrique Marcos just in front of him here. Not enough to make a move at this point of the race, but he's at least sticking with them, which makes a difference. Filling the mirrors, you know, puts a bit more pressure on your rivals in front of you. If Lucas was to start to drop away and not be able to make inroads on these guys, then they wouldn't have to worry so much and he'd just be out of the game then. But it's all down to Robin Kreutzhoff here not crumbling under pressure, because he knows that the two drivers behind him are mighty, mighty fast. And he'll know that there's quite a big gap from Lucas back to the other trucks in the background as well, so if there is a fight, and if it does get a little bit scary, then any one of them could easily back out of it and know that they've got some decent daylight between themselves and the other trucks. Here is Andreas Wagner, the Rising Sun Motorsport team, through the chicane, nice and tidy. That was a great early apex actually, and he's starting to put Henry Tyhus under pressure. John Newell wants a piece of this as well. He's trying to find his way through the pack. We look back now from the Dutchman Henry Tyhus. Oh, he's hung the back end out around the final corner quite a lot. Doesn't actually lose out a lot of straight line speed, to be honest. I was expecting him to lose out a lot there, but maybe Wagner just got a little bit too excited at the idea of a move. John Newell looking down the inside, but doesn't go for the move in the end. Just trying to get into the head of the drivers ahead and just try and unsettle them slightly. You can see different lines here as well. Wagner's found a way down the inside in the Mercedes arena. There's a tap again against the back of Tyhus, and he's sideways and he's off the road. He's going to come back on, and there's more contact between the three. John Newell sees an opportunity, goes round the outside. Wagner says, not in your life, son. He's still on that inside line though. They're not 3 wide anymore. Oh, John's tried to put his nose down the inside. He's into the side of Tyhus, who somehow bounces off the front of him and still saves it. John Newell sends it through, and Wagner is the one that somehow loses out in all of that. That was very gutsy stuff from John. Got fed up with the two of them bouncing off each other in front of him and thought, stuff it, I'm coming through. Steam trained his way down the inside. I think he was more just trying to get down the inside of Wagner, not wanting to hit Henry Tyhus, but it was just a byproduct of the battle they were having. Here is Sasha Lenz then trying to get past truck number 64, which is Cornel Burquez. The two of them were battling together on the very first lap of the race. Sasha's almost pushing him down towards the right-hander. There is a little bit of a biff there. Cornel has to back out of it. Sasha tries to get the run, hangs the back end out, loses a tiny bit of momentum. The important thing though is that with these trucks, you can hang the back end out and still carry a lot of the same speed. To get to the mandatory 160 k's, 100 miles an hour. So careful not to just jab each other into the chicane. Here you can see the sausage curb upsetting the truck slightly. All of the curb on the right, then all on the left, hard onto the brakes into the final corner. Don't hit the end of the pit wall, that's definitely something I'd be doing. And then look at them again, round the final corner, really kicking the back end out as they get on the power. Lap 8 out of 10 here at the Nurburgring in round 7 of the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge. With me, Chaz Draycott, up in the commentary box, Giro Milkow on the broadcasting duties as well, and a whole host of fantastic real-world and sim racing drivers out there on the circuit to entertain us. Hope you're all enjoying the show so far, everybody. Don't forget, even after this first race, while we have a bit of a break, we will be setting up the second race of the evening, which will have a reverse grid of the top 8 trucks from this result. And it'll be a nighttime race as well. And as things currently stand, as Giro has just rightly pointed out, Sasha Lenz being 8th would be on pole position for race 2. There was a bit of shenanigans just behind there between Gogo Balai and Jari Stark. Jari got through at the first corner, and then I think Balai has gone back down the inside and just resent it on him. Not sure if there was any favours to be repaid there. Here's Nathan Smith on the back of 96 of Jose Maria Rosa. Nathan, interestingly, the only right-hand drive truck in the field. It's like Jamie Anderson a couple of seasons now in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship in the real world. He's been the only right-hand drive truck for quite a while. Nathan, I'm not sure what the benefit is of it really, whether he's got any sort of certain corners where you definitely want to be on the right hand side of the truck so you know exactly where the wheel is, or whether there is actually any benefit at all. It'd be interesting to speak to Nathan and find that out actually at some point. Dasher will be happy that that battle's gone on behind him though, because it means he's got a little bit more breathing room now. He's got a bit more to risk if he does go for a move on the 64. But now he's tried it on Cornel Burquez. You can see that they've lost Chaba Hagedis just in front of them. Hagedis will be a lot more comfortable with that gap, so he can continue to move forward at true pace. We'll have to see what tyres are like for the remainder of the race, as Giro is pointing out now. Maybe Sasha's just saving the tyres at this point. He's not pushing too hard to try and get through because the tyres really do wear here. I said earlier about the temperatures not being that high, but let's not forget that these tyres and these truck races have to go through a lot of punishment. It is definitely something that you have to consider in truck racing, is tyre life. You've got to be so careful with it. Sasha maybe just playing the long game with said tyres and just playing it safe. We'll have to see. He's forced Burquez to go defensive this time. Cornel clings to that inside line. Doesn't do anything with it this time round. Although Sasha now tries to put his nose down the inside. No, nothing doing there. Burquez got a really good run actually out of the first corner. Good race so far though to start the evening here at the Nurburgring. Lively in the beginning, and now we have the intrigue of the chases here. Ooh, Burquez very sideways. I think he might have got a little bit of help from the front of the MAN. But Sasha doesn't take advantage of it. He doesn't make a move and sneak through or anything. It'd be way too easy to just push Burquez out of the way, but he knows that the stewards won't mess around and take that line down, so no point getting himself in trouble. Let's face it, it's truck racing. There is always contact because they are colossal machines that these drivers are trying to guide around the track. They're not tiny little nimble flea-like formula cars. There's just as much an art form to driving these things as there is as something like a GT car or a tiny formula car. They really do have their own set of physics to these trucks, and the guys have done a great job with the mod for all of these machines here on Assetto Corsa. It's a different and very difficult balance of performance to get right as well, it has to be said. Robin Kreutoff just in front of Enrique Marcos here. It seems like Enrique's closed in a tiny bit, but we're only talking a truck length or two. Don't think he's going to be able to do enough to beat Robin unless he has just one real final push on this last lap of the race. Chicane they go once more, and they're going to start the final lap of the race any minute now. Nurburgring leading Jorge Villa. He's 1.6 seconds clear now, is Norby. You can see him just in the top right of the screen there. After Villa putting on the pressure for so long, he's opened up that gap slightly now as Norbert. He'll be breathing a lot easier now, but Jorge was certainly piling the pressure on in those opening stages. Sasha Lenz continues to try and get past Cornel Berquez. We'll have to see if he can hold onto the position though, because let's not forget that if he does drop down the position here and goes behind Gergo Balai, then Gergo will get pole position for race 2. Sasha will then start from 9th. That's the difference here. If he loses that one place, he'll also be 8 places further back on the grid, and he needs to be careful with moments like that. Cornel Berquez has caught him out, and there's contact between Balai and Lenz, and around he goes, and Jari Stark's involved. Vincent Lohos says, yeah, I'll take pole position, boys, thanks very much. Vincent Lohos sneaks through. The Frenchman's going to take the place. Balai put his nose down the inside. I'm not sure whether it was too late or not, but Sasha Lenz turns into the corner and gets clipped and clipped and clipped, and around they go. Jari Stark piles into the back of it. Unfortunately, it just got messier and messier, and then, well, it was an impressive bit of opportunism, wasn't it, by Vincent Lahoste. Right now we look at Bjorn Taihu's truck 51 trying to get ahead of Tobias Martinez in truck 33. Oh no, he's just gone too deep into the hairpin. Taihu says thanks very much. He actually lost this position not long ago. Taihus has been in 12th place for most of the race. Aitor Marinas is now ahead of him. We're coming into the final couple of corners, everybody. We have Norbert Kish, and he's going to take another race victory. It looks like it's going to be his 4th win of the season, and that's the perfect way to start his evening. Norbert Kish wins here at the Nurburgring, winning race 1 of the night, round 7 of the 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge. And what a drive that was by Norby. He had to work hard to hold off Jorge Villa. Great drive by the man behind the wheel of truck number 12. And it's Robin Kreutoff, Enrique Marcos next up, and then Lucas Hahn finishing in 5th place. Next up is going to be Chaba Hagedis. Great job there to hold on to 6th ahead of his teammate Cornel Berquez, who was right in that fight until the very end, holding off Sasha Lenz. Vincent Lahoste gets 8th place, and that's going to give him pole position for race 2. Then it's going to be Jari Stark, and then Gergo Balai completes the top 10. A shame about the contact between Balai and Lenz at the end there. Lenz finishes in 11th position ahead of Aitor Marinas, Bjorn Taihus, Tobias Martinez next up, and Jonathan Andre in 15th place. Jose Maria Rosa crosses the line 16th ahead of Nathan Smith, with Bastian Donker finishing in 18th place. Gyula Zentai is 19th, with Valentin Nechtel completing the top 20. Gillian Christian was the next driver ahead of Benjamin Rico Rodriguez. Then we had John Newell in 23rd. He was ahead of Victor Jabardos, the two of them having a bit of contact earlier on. Henry Tyhus was 15th, followed by David West. Then Norbert Juhasz was also in that contact in truck 17. Andreas Wagner next up in 28th place ahead of Shabolks Kerry, truck 79, changing from a Freightliner to an MAN this season. And then Shilagi, which was the number 55 truck, Janos finishing there. And then Julian Ressel finishing in 31st position. But Norbert Kish taking another all-important win, his 4th win of the season, like I've said, extending his points lead over Jorge Vila, which was very close coming here to the Nurburgring. He'll be very comfortable now with that one. But Jorge will be really pleased with the fact that he put up such a fight for that one, because he didn't fade away. Norbert didn't disappear over the horizon completely. I mean, by the time they finished the race, there was only 2 seconds between them as well, so he'll be pleased with that gap, to be honest, will Jorge. If there's any sort of silver lining to take from it, it will definitely be that he finished second, but not by much, from the current reigning champion here in the Digital Racing Challenge and in the real world as well. Norby definitely not one to be messed with. They know what they're doing, and it's exciting news as well that we saw during the week that Revage Racing are going to be building a new truck for this season. They've shared some progress pictures of it, and we're all excited to see what Chaba and the guys at Revage Racing can come up with. They're a fantastic squad, and we're excited to see what they've got. Robin Kroitov in 3rd place as well, importantly ahead of Enrique Marcos for the championship as well. Those guys will be battling very hard for the rest of the season. They were 2 of the absolute superstars from last season as well, and I'm excited to see how their battle plays out. What we're going to do now, though, everybody, is just go for a quick break just for a few moments, look at some highlights, and we'll be back with you to get race 2 underway. Like I've said, it's going to be 8 trucks reversed from that grid, so it's going to be La Hoste and Berquez on the front row, and then we're going to be racing at night, everybody, at the Nürburgring, as we so often do in the Truck Grand Prix in the real world. It's going to be mighty exciting, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you in a few minutes' time. Everybody, Chaz Draycott here for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge. We're here for the second race of the evening at the Nurburgring. This is going to be the 8th round of the championship, and it's going to be mighty exciting this time around because we are racing under lights for this one. It's going to be great fun. We had a really exciting first race. Nurburgring and Jorge Vila disappeared from the rest of the pack, to be fair to them. Their pace was absolutely immense, and the two of them had a good little chase going on. But Norby just managed to stretch his legs towards the end of the race and managed to hold on to that victory. It's going to be on pole position on the left-hand side, Vincent Lahoste. He's been with us since the Slovakia ring, the French driver in truck number 28 in that MAN. We'll be hoping for at least to hold on to some of these places here. He's been right up there in the pack, though, so there's no reason he couldn't take the win from pole position. We also have on the front row with him Cornel Berquez. Berquez was rapid in that race as well, and I'm excited to see what he can make of this one. He's got his teammate behind him of Chaba Hagedis, and then Lucas Hahn starting in 4th place. It's great when we get these reverse grids, though, because any one of them could win this. And as you see, the lights are going to come on. They're going to get moving, but this is just going to be their green flag lap to get rolling. You can see a flash of the lights there from Lucas Hahn. A lot of them may be flashing the lights throughout this. Obviously in truck racing, the lights aren't where they would be on the actual trucks that you would see on the road. They're going to be on the or inside the windscreen, so they don't get damaged by any contact or anything like that. They don't lose the actual lights. They may not look like the brightest things in the world, but I tell you, when you're actually there in person, you see the amount of light that these things can cast. They are very bright indeed. Great innovation to have them that way. They have these very bright LED strips just inside the cockpit, and sometimes as well multiple other colourful LED strips around the grills and around windows and all sorts, just to make them look a lot more fancy. Just whatever the teams like to do. So as I've explained, nobody's explained it to me yet during my commentary. There's no one else in the box except for me and Gero. But we've had Nurburgring winning that first race, so he's going to start 8th on the grid here. You can just see him in the middle of the pack there. Just behind him is going to be Jari Stark, Gergo Balai and Sasha Lenz. He's going to feel hard done by there because that contact on the final lap is what cost him pole position for this race. And he's going to want to move forward, especially past Balai and Stark, who were both involved in that incident as well. Vincent Lahoste benefited from it tenfold because he now starts on pole position for this race. And it's mighty exciting for him to be leading the two urban sim racing trucks away behind. Now, will those guys work together? That's going to be the next question. We'll have to wait and see whether the 64 and 34 do indeed come together and help one another out slightly. There's not a massive amount you can do really to help each other in truck racing. As I've explained before, you can't move around the circuit as much as you can in the likes of a Formula car or a touring car or even a GT car. You have to be very careful where you place your racing truck here. Contact has a lot of consequence. It's been a fun race evening so far tonight. We look forward to what this second race will have in store for us. It will get darker and darker though as the sun has set here at the Nurburgring. We may just have some fireworks on the circuit and off the circuit for the latter part of the broadcast. We'll have to wait and see. Beautiful, colourful grid though here. The truck designs are absolutely marvellous. Up and down the order. It's brilliant to have such a great turnout week after week as well. You know, all the drivers, the people that enter the championship and continually follow the progress of the series are really invested in it. And we love having them on board. It's such a great group of drivers. Very friendly and communicative people. There's got to be a massive amount of irony somewhere in missaying the word communicative, surely. Still, Vincent Lahoste starting on pole position. A lot of pressure on him now to determine when they go. They have to come around the final corner and maintain speed. You'll often see them, you can see the brake lights at the top of the cab. They'll be holding the brake lights for pretty much the entire start-finish straight until they get going. So what the drivers will do is build up the boost, they'll build up the revs, holding the throttle, and just coast the truck on the brakes. They'll manage the speed with the brakes instead of the throttle, and then they'll get going and lift it from there. So, from the Nurburgring then, with the sun setting here over the Nordschleife, we go to round number 8 of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge, and we get underway right now. And Vincent Lahosse hugs the right-hand side of the circuit. Norbert Kish already diving out to the left. Lucas Hahn wants a piece of this from two Iveco S-Ways in front of him. And you can see that Hegedus is holding that inside line as tightly as possible. Nobody's going to come through down the inside of there. What are they like on the brakes? Everybody has to brake really early the first time that they go through the chicane. Jorge Vila's got a great start. And down the inside he goes as, Norbert Kish is involved in contact. Jose Maria Rosa gets shoulder barged out the way in the background. The golden light looking beautiful bouncing off these trucks. Gergo Balai's been headbutted by Bjorn Tyhus. And Bjorn is around and backwards. Nathan Smith was sideways coming into shot there as well. And I think Donko was a long way off the track. More and more contact every time we look further back. Sasha Lenz still in front, or actually no, now getting in front of Norbert Kish. Norbert finds himself in 9th place. He was on the outside line into turn 1, and they were about 14 wide on the inside line by the look of it. Lucas Hahn has got past Hegedus, who's now under pressure from Jorge Vila. He's gained 3 places already, but he pushes and pushes and pushes. He gets a hit from behind as well in the checkup. Hegedus with a fantastic save manages to hold the truck at 45 degrees. Enrique Marcos is in that as well with his countrymen. You've also got Robin Kreuthoff down the inside looking into the hairpin. The fireworks have started already on the track and off the track as well. They're up there in the background. We look back now from the number 34 machine of Csaba Hegedus. Norby's trying to get involved in that. There's contact between Enrique Marcos as well. Look at the amount of them heading still into the hairpin. Awesome stuff. Through the Michael Schumacher S, isn't it? Settles down for just 1 or 2 corners here as Lucas Hahn moves ahead. Oh no, Cornel Burkes is off. Burkes is off. There must have been contact between himself and Lucas, because Lucas has dropped a lot of speed as well, and he's now been overtaken by Burkes' teammate Csaba Hegedus. As no more contact. Robin Kreuthoff and Enrique Marcos shoulder barging each other. Whoa, Marcos has had some sort of weird disconnect or something. Whoa, goodness me, what happened there? He just went completely hard right. It's like the hardware locked in place. That was terrifying. I'm not quite sure how he didn't hit anybody else harder there, but yeah, Marcos is completely disconnected instantly. It's just completely gone. It says he's disconnected from the server, I can tell you, from within the server, so horrible moment that for Enrique. That's such a shame. He's been a real star in the championship, and for the contact to come from his championship rival as well. With Robin Kreuthoff, that'll be heartbreaking for both of them. Robin won't want it to have happened that way. He wants a fair fight, and I think we all want a fair fight between the two of them. Just that tiny bit of contact had such an implication. Norbert Kish now looks down the inside of Sasha Lenz. I've said many times in the real world as well, these two battling on the virtual circuit as well. Norbert gives him a bit of a shoulder barge on the exit. And now Robin Kreuthoff says, well, if you're going to be a little bit slow around there, son, I'll have a go. And Sasha says, no, you won't. Not around there, you don't. As Jari Stark comes steaming in like a wrecking ball there. A big blue and pink wrecking ball. Smacking into the back of the Rainbow Warrior himself. And somehow they both still make the corner. Horrendous voice break there, Chaz. Don't do that again. Jonathan Andre's just behind this. He's up to 9th place now in this race. Constant battling going on in these second races of the night. It's epic entertainment. Here's Gergo Balai side by side with Nathan Smith. Nathan's another one that's had a fantastic recovery after an earlier shaky result. Gergo just squeezes him to the exit. Squeezes into the apex, I should say. Not enough room down the inside there for Nathan Smith. Well, at least Gergo doesn't think there is. Gillian Christian, Gergo's teammates, just behind this as well. Look at this lot here, side by side, Jorge Vila and the 34 of Csaba Hegedus. The two of them lean on each other up the hill. There's no need for more and more contact, gentlemen. Hegedus doesn't want to give him any room at all. Lucas tries to push him through. He hits the back of Hegedus, hits the side of Vila. He's now bounced into Lucas Hahn. And for the second lap in a row, we've got an urban truck sideways. Lucas Hahn involved. Sasha Lenz goes through. Norbert Kish side by side with his championship rival Jorge Vila. Hegedus gives it back to Sasha Lenz. Look at heck, everybody's just going to be bouncing off each other here. It's like a load of bowling pins. Plenty of contact and argy-bargy, but look at these two. This is how it's done, boys. Side by side, championship protagonists, Norbert Kish and Jorge Vila, leaning Okay. Apologise for the issues there. This is the wonders of the internet, everybody. So, joining back in with the race, we have Vincent Lahoste leading the way still. He's had a great start since going from pole position. Norbert is still chasing him down. Jorge Vila in third position after their battle got resolved with that. Robin Kreutzhoff is 5.2 seconds back in fourth position as things stand. Lucas Hahn next, Sasha Lenz in sixth, then Csaba Hergédis 34th. Looks like Valentin Nechtel's just had a drama, actually. He's dropping down the order very quickly. Everybody cracking on and gaining places ahead of him. It's a real shame what happened to Enrique Marcos earlier. Just recapping on that, contact between himself and Robin Kreutzhoff really flung the truck away. It's very tricky to watch because you never knew who he was going to hit when he came back onto the circuit. Here's the number 42 of Bastian Donker. He's side by side now with Tobias Martinez, the number 33 Scania and the 42 Scania bouncing off each other. I've seen a bit of contact between these two before, and there's a little bit more to go with it this time round. Hopefully that Tobias Martinez doesn't bounce off the side of him. He doesn't steer into him. They're side by side into the chicane. Hard on the brakes, both of them go. And these gorgeous Scanias, neither of them want to give an inch. They need to because it's mighty tight through there. That's great racing. And look at that. Martinez sideways as you like on the exit, and Donker just slots in front. It's not quite so tidy in the background though. You can see Andreas Wagner nearly ends up on the Nordschleifer as he goes that wide out of the chicane, but somehow recovers and still makes the final corner. Amazing stuff, but straight back into the action we go. And just in front of these guys is the number 69 Volvo of Victor Chabados, the only Volvo in the field. Norbert Kish has retaken the race lead now in this one. He started 8th on the grid, and Vincent Lahoste was not able to hold him off. He's Lahoste the lead, you could say. Jorge Vila in 3rd position. Again, our director's just made a horrendous noise showing his discomfort with that horrendous joke. I do apologise, everybody. Jorge Vila in 3rd position. He's hoping to get 2nd place now because, again, it's all about damage limitation in terms of these championship points. If Norby at least wins the race, Jorge can try and get 2nd position to just reduce the gap between the two of them. Robin Kreutzhoff still in 4th place in the background with Lucas Hahn behind him again. He and Lucas have been mighty close to each other at so many rounds of the championship so far. Jorge just gliding around that hairpin. They look great going through there. It's a real shame we don't actually race on that layout of the circuit in the real world, but for obvious reasons, we don't go all the way down to the Dunlop Cura. Through Michael Schumacher S's, there you go. I love the look of that Polar Cube branded machine. It's a really great livery. Sure, it's just a solid colour with some stickers on it, but I tell you what, it just works on that MAN. It looks really, really solid. Jorge Vila hoping to get in front of Lahoste before the end of this one. He's got 2 laps after this run. I was going to say after this race then, but after this lap we've got 2 more. Robin Kreutzhoff's still got a lot of time as well to hold on ahead of Lucas Hahn in the Iveco. It's 3 MANs at the front though at the minute. All MAN. Jari Stark, the highest placed Freightliner at this point. Lucas Hahn leading the Iveco charge. And then of course Victor Chabados, the only Volvo in the field, currently in 15th place. Those guys were getting mighty close to that tyre barrier on the inside there. They deal with very small margins. These guys are great and very highly skilled at what they do. They can guide these humongous 5-ton racing machines through the smallest of chicanes with great accuracy. I mean, look back at Zolder last week. There was so much amazing driving at Zolder. It's so close to a barrier at all times, whereas here at the Nurburgring you've got a little bit more breathing room. There's not much breathing room between Jorge Vila and Vincent Lahoste though, is there? You can see that Lahoste isn't quite getting the same run out of some of the slower corners that Jorge Vila is. Depends on the experience they've had behind the wheel of these things, I guess, but Jorge just knows how to carry that momentum that little bit more. Vincent's doing a great job though since he joined the championship. He's constantly been inside the top 10, right up there, charging near the front of the field. He joined us for the first time at the Slovakia ring. He's been great ever since. Robin Kreutzhoff and Lucas Hahn still 4th and 5th. Hegeda's still in 7th with Stark just behind him. Jari Stark actually only half a second back now in 8th place. The whole field still in one large train as things stand. There's a battle going on a bit further down actually between Chabados, Donker and Tobias Martinez. Those guys are all right together as well. Still having their own little ding-dong, and here they go. Actually, if we come back and Martinez isn't even on the circuit, he's on the right-hand side trying to find any way around Bastian Donker that he can. Chabados is a little bit deep in the Volvo. You can see the brake lights lighting up the already red front end of truck number 42. Head back down the hill towards the Dunlop car. It looked like Nathan Smith a bit further up the road had a bit of a drama there at the hairpin. Could just see him running wide and going slowly in the background. Looks like Jorge Vila's taken 2nd place as well. He and Lahoste have just swapped around on the timing tower as Donker finds that, well, in the back right corner of his Scania is another Scania trying to barge its way in. Tobias Martinez just says, come on, please, just shift out the way. And all of a sudden, that gives Chabados just in front of them a little bit more of a gap. We head towards a very long left-right hander section here, which is mighty tough in any sort of racing machine, to be fair. Whenever you see the racing trucks glide their way around there. Look at that, just too wide by Donker, and he's had a bit of a Paris-Dakar run over the gravel. Manages to recover, but not going to be too pleased with that one. Valentin Nexel has actually just posted in the YouTube chat as well, saying that his game crashed. We won't resume the race as per the rules. Respectful stuff, Valentin. Sorry to hear that you've had the disconnect or that the game crashed. we look forward to seeing you at the next round. Valentin's been a really exciting driver to watch. He's always right in the thick of the battles with these guys as well at this point in the field. He's always involved in the scraps. Great to have drivers like him on board. There's so many brilliant drivers in this series that, you know, they're not scared to make the moves. They're not sort of holding back too much. It's really exciting racing to watch here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge. Thank you to those of you for sticking with us through the technical issues earlier on. We're now on to the final lap of the race and the final lap of the night here in round 8 of the 2024 season. And, well, I tell you what, Tobias Martinez is going to be hoping that he has only a few more corners left to hold on ahead of Bastian Donker. Look at the sunshine glowing off the front of the trucks there. It looks awesome. Brake lights glowing as well in the darkness here. Chabados in that Volvo is just about holding on ahead of these guys at this moment. Throwing everything at him that they can. Guys are now just floating their way around the circuit. Obviously the track temperature will be a lot cooler than it was in the earlier race, so they may have a little bit more life in the tyres at this point of the night than we had in the 7th round of the season. I don't think it'll be much to really make a huge difference with the drivers at this stage. They may still want to push. Tobias Martinez just looks down the inside of Chabados, and well, it works. It scares the life out of him into the hairpin. Still not able to get through though. He's grinding along that bumper bar on the back, and Chabados is wiggling around all over the place as he tries to get the traction down from the Volvo. Up the hill they go, but up the hill in a very different sense goes Norbert Kish, because he's now coming into the chicane, and it's going to be a perfect night for Norby. He took pole position earlier on. It looked mighty fine for him from there, and well, he's just disappeared over the horizon once again tonight in terms of the race and in terms of the championship. Hands together everybody as Norbert Kish wins round 8 of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship Digital Racing Challenge. Second place once again Jorge Vila, but look at Vincent Lahoste in 3rd place. Great run by him. Really solid drive that from the front of the grid. He kept his nerve and he held on tight to that position. Robin Kruithoff finishes in 4th place. Lucas Hahn takes his 5th place finish of the night. Sasha Lenz finishes in 6th place. He'll be a lot happier with that one compared to how the first race of the night went. We didn't get to see much of his fight through the order, but he did a good job. Hagedis was next up behind him. Jari Stark finishing in 8th place, and then Gergo Balai in 9th. Completing our top 10 was Nathan Smith, the British driver in truck number 11, doing a mighty fine job. Cornel Burkes was next up. He finished in 11th position with Jonathan Andre just behind him. And then it was Benjamin Rico Rodriguez, truck 77, Gillian Christian and Victor Chabados in trucks 16 and 69. Tobias Martinez in truck 33 doing some donuts down into turn 1 in the Scania. Bjorn Tyhus was next ahead of Andreas Wagner, with then John Newell behind him in truck number 18. He finished in 19th place. Gyula Zentai completes the top 20 for Boomer Racing in the Freightliner. Jose Maria Rosa was next with David West in 22nd. Henry Tai, who's just finished in 15th, sorry, not 15th because I'm reading his race number. He was 23rd. Julian Ressel in truck 7 finished in 24th ahead of Shilagi, and that's not going to feel fantastic as he gets ploughed into the barrier. Shabox Kerry was next up, but then we had some DNFs. Bastian Donker, Norbert Juhasz actually did continue on as, oh no, Norby's gone for a drift, and actually he's managed to hold on to it. How on earth did he do that? That was amazing to watch, but now, oh, he's slightly overdone it there as Norby. But 2 wins on the night. What a fantastic evening for Norbert Kish here at the Nurburgring in a big red Baloo. Its virtual form anyway. Certainly showing us just how it's done once again as Norby, as he lights up the rears and heads away down the straight. There's the number 34 machine of Csaba Hagedis just in front of him. Csaba finishing that race in 7th place. Some big championship points for him tonight as well. But look at the drifting capabilities of these trucks. They're just as good at this in the real world as they are in the sim as well. Because of the way that the weight is over the front end and not over that rear axle, these trucks drift beautifully in the real world. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But Norby extends his championship lead with that for this evening. And it's certainly been a great night of racing again. Once more, apologies for the technical issues earlier. I'm sure you'll understand that this is broadcasting via sim racing and via the internet, it's never a straightforward industry. It's, oh, Norby, my goodness me. I thought I was going to hit the barrier there. But thank you to those of you that stuck with us through the technical difficulties. It's massively, massively appreciated from myself, Chaz Draycott, and from Gero Mulkout as well, our director. We are very, very grateful. Lucas Hahn will be hoping for a little bit more in terms of results next time out. And speaking of next time out, we go to Most in the Czech Republic for the next rounds of the championship. There's some beautiful fireworks for you over the Nurburgring to round out our night. We then head to Poznan on the 24th of March, Jarama on the 7th of April, and we go to Misano to finish our virtual season here in the Digital Racing Challenge on the 21st of April. And that's where the real season will get started towards the end of May. That's going to be all from me, Chaz Draycott, up here in the commentary box. From everybody involved in the stream, thank you very much for watching. Really hope you've enjoyed this installment, and we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time. We'll catch you soon, everybody.